So right from the first week, I spoke about kindness as one of the key aspects of meditation practice. I was introducing meditation with this idea of focusing on the breath, being aware of the body, an attitude of kindness, and cultivating this quality of mindfulness. So kindness has been there all along. But in this particular kind of meditation, kindness comes to the foreground. So it's called metta bhavana. Yeah? So it's which translates as the cultivation of loving kindness, the development of loving kindness, this practice. So it begins really by wishing ourselves well. Many teachers say one of the most difficult things that we have to face is our own inner critic. It can be really harsh on ourselves. You know, that there's a kind of subtle or not so subtle judgment of what we're doing. You know, am I doing it right? What are other people going to think? How can I be good enough? How can I kind of get things all together? And there's that quality of a kind of inner harshness that can be there. So loving kindness towards ourselves is really working with that, really just wishing ourselves well, wishing this being well. And so we can do this in the practice by using phrases. So you can use different phrases, but the ones that we'll use is, may I be well, may I be free from fear and danger, may I be peaceful, and may I live with ease. So you're consciously using these kind of intentions to bring about these kind of qualities. From doing that, then we also offer this kindness to a benefactor. So a benefactor is anybody who's really benefited you. So it might be a friend or a teacher or somebody who's really looked after you, somebody who's inspired you. So one of the reasons this person's used, because it really, people like that can kind of inspire that opening of the heart relatively easily. Yeah? So you think of somebody like that who's really been good to you. Then it's relatively easy to have that sense of wanting to offer kindness, wanting to offer well-wishing. It moves on to consider friends, to include people we don't know, people we may feel fairly neutral about, and then moves on to consider people we find difficult, and then finally to all beings. So in the practice, we're sort of working with that way that we can divide up the world into those we like, those we don't like, and those we're not bothered about. Yeah? So it opens up a different way of responding to people. So at heart, really, this loving kindness practice is about letting go of that illusion of separation. Yeah? Letting go of that illusion that there's me here and you there, and life is a kind of battle of these kind of conflicting egos, and how can we win in this kind of competitive situation. So it's kind of letting go of that feeling that I'm here and the world's out there and I've got to somehow kind of fix it to get what I want. So as we spoke about yesterday, there can be this feeling of all being in the same boat, all being in the same boat. So clearly we have lots of differences. We're just reflecting on these commonalities, the wish to be happy, the wish not to suffer, the fact we've been born, the fact we're going to die. These real basic human qualities can really begin to open up this loving kindness. Because when it's absent, there can be this sense of relating to people in terms of, have you got something that I want? Yeah? Is this person got something that's going to give me what I want? Or the opposite of that could be, is this person somehow getting in the way of what I want? Is this person an obstacle to my happiness? So we can relate to people through these qualities that we've been discussing over the weeks of craving and aversion. There's somebody that's got something that you want, that you've got to kind of pull them towards you and grasp them and hold on. Or there's somebody who's preventing you getting what you want, or they've got something you want, so you've got to somehow fight them. So with loving kindness, we don't see others in that way. We see them as fellow beings. Yeah? So we're moving from this situation, this viewpoint of kind of enemies, friends, people I'm not bothered about because they've got nothing for me, to a sense of the fellowship, really, fellowship with other beings. So loving kindness, or metta in the Pali, is one of 4 Brahma Viharas. And Brahma Viharas basically means something like the dwelling place of the gods. It can be interpreted in different ways. Or the sublime abidings is another way. So these are really beautiful places to be. Yeah? Beautiful places to be. And of course when we say places, we're talking about states of being. So the other 3 are compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. This is all very related to loving kindness. Compassion is that quality of heart which can meet the suffering in the world without being overwhelmed by it. So it's a very powerful quality and a very important quality and a very rich quality. When I think of the most difficult times in my life, I don't really think of times of great sadness necessarily as the worst. I think the most difficult times are the times when we're most disconnected, when we're most stuck in that view that, here I am and there's everybody else out there and I'm in some kind of battle. Compassion is a quality that even in the midst of something that's really difficult, a loss or a sadness, there can be a kind of sweetness to experience. It's quite paradoxical. I mean, for instance, I don't know if you had an experience when you've been bereaved. There can be a strange feeling of being more in touch with life, really, or you're in touch with the love that you have for the person who's gone, or you're kind of connected to somebody going through a tough time, but there's connection and there's a richness there that can be alive even through sad times. Yeah. Sympathetic joy is happiness at the good fortune of others. So what do we like when somebody else tells us some good news? It's very natural, really, to quite have a response. Why is that not happening to me? Somebody else got some good news. I don't know if you notice this response in your heart, but I certainly can recognise this kind of response. The first kind of impulse is, but what about me? So this quality of mudita, sympathetic joy, is the quality that's not really doing that. It's really delighting in the happiness of others. It's not seeing it through that lens of envy or jealousy. So that's actually quite a difficult practice to cultivate joy in the happiness of others. But it's a very liberating practice, And equanimity is the last of these Brahma Viharas, and equanimity is a balance of the mind, a kind of stillness amidst the ups and downs of life. And this can sound, or it may sound initially a cold thing, but one definition is to be equally close to all things, to be intimate with all things. So it's not talking about the kind of indifference that a piece of wood has, but to be touched by life, but not overwhelmed by its various moods or phases or changes or comings and goings, the various flow of life. So we can be in touch with it without being kind of overwhelmed, without drowning in all those changing conditions. So equanimity knows that there's pleasure and pain and praise and blame and loss and gain. It knows that these are all part of life. So it's not getting so caught up with whatever happens to be passing through. And loving kindness itself is different from a kind of pink, fluffy clouds view of the world. Yeah? So it's a realistic It's a realistic quality. It's not the quality that says everybody's lovely all the time, or everything's nice all the time, or there's nothing wrong with the world. It's a realistic quality, but it's a quality that wishes well. Yeah, a quality that wishes well. And so to be real, it can meet even those difficult parts of ourselves. So when we do this practice, it's important not to feel that there's a demand to feel a particular way. You might start doing the phrases, may I be well, may I be happy, may you be well, may you be happy. And precisely the opposite feelings might arise. Yeah? But in the loving kindness practice, we can bring that sense of kindness and a welcoming attitude even to those difficult things. So it's a kind of attitude, really, that we're bringing to life, rather than a feeling or a demand. We're not demanding that we feel nice all the time, or demanding that other people are nice all the time, but it's just a fundamental attitude of kindness. The Buddha described 11 advantages of loving kindness practice, which I really like. Again, different people might be able to take these more or less literally than others, but listen to them with an open heart. We'll see what we make of them. But he says, you will sleep easily, you will wake easily, you will have pleasant dreams, people will love you, devas and animals will love you, devas will protect you. External dangers, poisons, weapons, and fire will not harm you. Your face will be radiant, your mind will be serene, you will die unconfused, and you will be reborn in happy realms. So it's quite a list of things that this practice can bring about. And again, certainly we can see, I think we can certainly see elements of this. Things that we can directly see for ourselves. You will sleep easily, you will wake easily. We know if our hearts are full of ill will or anger or really full of hatred towards a person, it's very difficult to put that down when we want to rest and go to sleep. If our hearts are open and full of kindness, we can sleep more easily, wake more easily. And that, of course, has effects on the dreams. People will love you. Again, I don't think that means that everybody is going to love you all the time, under all circumstances. But clearly, people who, you can tell actually, if a person's in quite a kind of, difficult, angry mood that feels a bit stuck, there is a feeling to sort of want to kind of, move away a bit, move away. So again, it seems to me a perfect level of common sense that even on that usual level of interaction, if your heart is full of kindness, that you're just better to be around. Yeah? So you get a better response from people. Devas and animals will love you. So again, a bit more difficult perhaps to verify directly for ourselves, but I don't know. Can animals pick up your moods? Many of us will perhaps say yes. And this one, I'm not sure. External dangers, poisons, weapons, and fire will not harm you. I'm not claiming that if you do this meditation that you will be bulletproof. But it may be the case. It may be the case that you're less likely to be faced with the poisons and the weapon. If you have fewer enemies, then there are less people that want to do that to you. But your face will be radiant, your mind will be serene, you'll die unconfused, you'll be reborn in happy realms. So this practice, and we'll do it together in a moment, is a really beautiful aspect of meditation where we're making more explicit the part of this practice which is interpersonal. Yeah? A lot of the stuff we've been talking about, the wisdom aspects of the practice, reflecting on impermanence, reflecting on not self, reflecting on suffering and its origin. It can sound a little bit kind of intellectual, a little bit sort of in the head. But the wisdom that's being spoken about is a wisdom that's really expressed in kindness and expressed in compassion. And a wisdom that flows out into our relationship with others. And that's what this loving kindness practice is really doing, making that aspect of the practice explicit.